It's been over 25 years since the PlayStation 2 first appeared on store shelves. Back then, it was the hot new system after the unexpected success of the PlayStation, and Sony would go on to absolutely dominate the 6th generation of video gaming. I was able to get my fat model in July 2002 thanks to my dad. While I no longer have it, this slim model is doing the job nicely for me. In 2025, many people want to experience PlayStation 2 games again, but not necessarily on real hardware. With the cost of PlayStation 2 consoles, games and accessories going up, individuals are seeking alternative ways to play their old favourite titles. It's quite handy then that emulation continues to be desirable to more and more people, especially as emulation has improved on various computers, mobile devices and even handhelds, allowing us to not only play PlayStation 2 games, but to do so with added graphical improvements if desired. One may wonder, should I get real hardware or use emulation for my PlayStation 2 experiences? To find out, I pitted my PlayStation 2 Slim against my MacBook using PCSX2 to emulate PlayStation 2 games. Many people may want to consider improving the graphics of PlayStation 2 games to give them new life, especially now that PCs and even mobile devices are more powerful than ever. While software rendering is still viable and a good choice for most people, especially those seeking accuracy, to push graphical boundaries to the limit, I've upped the internal resolution to 5K in most titles that I've tested, and in some games I've even utilised the texture replacement feature of PCSX2. Anything to give the graphics extra oomph. My real PlayStation 2 setup has me using component cables and the GBSC upscaler to output the games at 1080p across the board. Finally, we are using the SD2 PSX for the first time in this long-running segment, meaning I can take advantage of NTSC games for the PlayStation 2. No more being locked to PAL copies of my games from my collection. Grab your favourite food and drink, you'll be here for a while. Let's begin with Valkyrie Profile 2. This is the American version, and while you're shouting at your screen saying,
"Use the Japanese version, it has 480p support,"
bear with me on this. Valkyrie Profile 2, despite being limited to 480i with the American version, is still a great looking game. How many PlayStation 2 games looked this good by 2007? Not many. Many developers prioritized the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 by this stage. Even the Wii was more loved at this time. I do enjoy playing the game, and as I keep playing, I happen to just get a tiny bit further along. Maybe one day I'll finally complete it. If only they could English patch the Japanese version so I could use its 480p video output.
What about emulation?
I hear you asking. Well, brace yourself, you're not ready for this. See, this is easily one of the most transformative graphical upgrades you'll ever see. There's a few reasons for the sudden graphical improvement. First, I've shoved everything in PCSX2 to the highest settings possible. Second, I increased the internal resolution to 5K. 5K! That's a big difference. Then, I've used the texture replacement pack to increase the clarity of said textures. Add all this up and the results are breathtaking. The reason why I'm using the American version is because the texture replacement pack was made for that version only, unfortunately. I hope one day the same texture pack can be used for the Japanese version of the game. Still, what a transformation from PCSX2. Next up, it's Ico. This game is unique. Why? Well, other than being a puzzle game with interesting game mechanics, the title outputs in 240p. Yes, 240p, the same resolution as the PlayStation and other pre-6th generation console. No wonder it looks extremely jaggy. Now, to be honest, this is where a CRT display would be better. For me to admit this isn't an understatement. Even with component cables and the GBSC, the game isn't suited for modern displays with this low resolution output. However, what if we use PCSX2 at 5K resolution? The difference is unbelievable. Look at the two, it's not even close. The level of detail on display is absolutely amazing, and details which were hard to see on real PlayStation 2 hardware show up in all their glory using PCSX2. That being said, this is not a perfect image. There's ghosting present if you pause the screen, and some elements don't seem to be happy with the extreme upscaling. Perhaps CRT filters or different settings might fix some of the image discrepancies. Even so, this is a clear win for emulation, at least in picture quality for modern displays. Although I do wonder, would the CRT filter help out? How about Initial D Special Stage? This 2003 release is a port of a Japanese arcade game. It's a racing game with very strange yet arcadey handling. The car starts slow, but as you go around the track and you get around it successfully, it'll speed up more and more. This isn't the best racing game ever made, but it has a lot of personality, offers decent graphics, and the music is so good. It's copyrighted material, so I cannot play a sample for you, but trust me, the Initial D soundtracks are awesome. Question is, how does it look on PCSX2 at 5K internal resolution? Again, a big change for the game. Texture detail, the cars themselves, and the environment get a boost. If we put the two side by side, they are not even close. It's amazing what can be achieved on emulation, especially in 2025. Let's try a fighting game. Dead or Alive 2 is one of my personal favourites on the PlayStation 2. I know, the Dreamcast version has 480p support, but the PlayStation 2 version is nicer to play, runs at 60 frames per second all of the time, and is much easier to find these days. It still looks quite good in my opinion. Of course, running at 480i is so 2002. Why don't we use emulation to turbocharge the graphics? Wow, you see what I see, right? The graphics are utterly incredible. The texture replacement pack seems to have helped, giving more detail to the graphics. This allows the 5K upscale to work beautifully here. The game has transformed to the point that the real PlayStation 2 graphics look ancient by comparison. There was a time when Dead or Alive 2 struggled to work on emulation. These days, it is smooth as butter. Many of you have asked me for God of War to be featured, so here it is. Using widescreen and its 480p output, the game looks fantastic, even today. Yes, the game is 20 years old now, but who cares? It's a gorgeous looking spectacle. The violence helps too. But emulation has changed massively since the game was released and, well, emulation combined with the 5K output and texture replacement pack delivers a big boost to the already superb graphics. You could argue that this is a remastered version of the game now. The side-by-side shows how far apart these two systems are. Don't think shortcuts were taken either. Almost every texture sees a nice overhaul, making the feature worth using when upscaling the graphics to this degree. Jumping into another action game, Zone of the Enders, the second runner, is one of my favourites. This is the NTSC version too. I've even forced it into 480p thanks to FreeMake Boot via my SD2 PSX memory card unit. 480p really does help the picture clarity here, making it sharper and easier to see. This is a beautiful looking game with slick combat and particle effects going crazy. Will emulation allow me to turbocharge the graphics? Of course it does. 3K output this time. I've used the texture replacement pack to increase the texture quality for this title. The two systems look good, but PCSX2 has a good deal of clarity thanks to all of the enhancements on show. Even the overclocking makes a difference, with the frame rate sticking to 60 more often than not, even in cutscenes. The game runs pretty well then, considering all of the upgrades used in PCSX2. I've really gotten into the Onimusha games lately, and the third entry is awesome. Using 3D backgrounds and character models, the title is a sight to behold. Combat is fast and fun, the story is interesting, but best of all, Capcom used the PlayStation 2 to the best of its abilities to showcase beautiful backdrops and good 3D graphics. So how about PCSX2? With 3K upscaling and texture replacement activated, does it make a difference? You bet it does. The backgrounds are more detailed, textures are clearer and easier to discern, and we see improvements for the character models. I have to say, playing it with these enhancements makes it feel like a PlayStation 4 remaster. Pretty impressive. Here's a big one, the Gran Turismo 4 Spec 2 mod. Yes, it works on real PlayStation 2 hardware, and yes, I'm using the 480p output the NTSC versions have available, unlike the PAL version. The game looks fantastic when utilizing 480p, although dithering is apparent when using it, and you could argue the game looks a touch too sharp. Still, I enjoy playing Gran Turismo 4 when 480p is enabled. Cars and tracks look utterly insane. The PlayStation 2 was a beast when used properly. What can PCSX2 do with 5K upscaling and the texture replacement feature? A lot. The game now takes a huge leap forward graphically. While not all textures get a massive boost, the overall look of the title shifts for the better. I personally feel the tracks benefit more than anything else. The cars just look correct on them and not out of place, which was my initial worry when upscaling at 5K. When the texture replacement pack works, it really works. It's certainly worth trying if you want to further enhance games on PCSX2. How about one of the games from the Art Truck Battle series? This was the first one for the PlayStation 2. One day I will talk about this series in depth, but essentially you drive a truck with some cargo against another truck driver. You have to finish first while not losing your cargo and having to sometimes deal with the police. The arcade experience is fairly simple but addictive once you get going. What makes this title interesting is the soundtrack. It has enka music or Japanese ballad music which shouldn't work, yet I love it. Anyway, what can PCSX2 do when I set the upscale to 5K? A lot. The graphics have a smooth look now with hardly any jaggies on screen. Some of the effects don't look quite right due to the extreme upscale, but it's a small price to pay for the otherwise huge jump graphically everywhere else. Resident Evil 4 for the PlayStation 2 is next. I remember playing the Wii version of this. So many memories right there. Anyway, using the 480p output, the title is a bit soft graphically. It's nothing too bad, but I've always missed the sharpness the Wii and original GameCube versions produced for their video outputs. The game is fantastic still, even after all these years, even after the game got remade in 2023. With 5K output, texture replacements and other hacks activated on PCSX2, is the difference that big? Oh my goodness, wow! Do I have to say more? Fine, I will. Transformed might be underselling the improvements. It's an absolute night and day difference. Details are so much easier to see now. Elements that were blurry or lacked high quality textures on real PlayStation 2 hardware are crisp on PCSX2. It doesn't even resemble a PlayStation 2 game now. It more resembles the HD remaster on Steam, outside of the lack of 60 frames per second that version supports. Utterly brilliant from PCSX2. Well folks, I have many more games to show you in this episode. Listen to the sound quality of both platforms alongside checking out the graphical differences between the two. I hope you enjoy, and I will see you at the end.
It was nice knowing you. It was nice knowing you. Kiss me.
That's gotta hurt.
We're proud to bring you this exciting race today. Okay, now stay with us for more racing thrills.
Hey, eyes on the road, jerk.
Pick up a first aid kit!
That ball is your enemy. It's on the decline. Hit it right, Pudgy.
I think it's safe to say when emulation works, it really works. Improving graphics to this degree is outrageous, and to know we have the power to take PlayStation 2 games to these extremes is mind-blowing, especially when you realise it was all thanks to the retro community. Let's not mince words here though. Not all games benefit from a huge resolution boost. Not all games work unless put in software rendering mode. Some games just don't work all that well when trying to emulate them. Even so, it's hard to deny that emulation has taken a huge leap forward and PCSX2 continues to impress in 2025. With 2026 pretty much here, I look forward to seeing how the emulator improves as time goes on. Maybe more advancements will be made to keep us on our toes. You folks let me know, what are your thoughts on PCSX2? Would you upscale your games or keep them as close to real hardware graphics as possible? Maybe you just prefer real hardware full stop? Tell me in the comments, and I will see you soon.